Okay. It says we're live. Yay! Welcome
Yay!
everybody to the Divorce Successfully series. My name is Denise Cherese and I am your narcissistic abuse recovery coach. And Cherese, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Cherese with She Wealth, which stands for Savvy, Healthy, and Empowered.
Yeah, and Cherese is all about the financial part of the divorce.
Yes.
So we're here to bring awareness around these two parts of the divorce that may not be known for everybody, because I know that we automatically just go to the lawyer, get the best divorce lawyer, and maybe these two parts are skipped out on the divorce, and so that's why Cherese and I are here to share this information with you, so that you divorce successfully. Ultimately, that's the goal that we have for you.
That's right.
Yeah. So, do you have a story? A financial story that you could share with the audience today?
A timeline story, or do you want an example of a client?
Yeah, like what clients, I know last week we talked about what's the number one struggle that clients come to you with. So is there like a story of a financial, somebody came to you kind of like I'm getting in a wreck, in a mess, in a
Okay.
financial mess, and then you help them smooth it out, sort it out.
Okay. So I have a story. Actually, all my clients have been referrals, which is interesting.
Sweet.
And yeah, I love that. I have a story of a lady, and she had divorced probably about 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't sure like about her money and her finances. And the husband had quite a few jobs. So she wasn't sure as to where her different accounts were. She had 12 different accounts
Wow.
that we had to locate, organize, and then transfer and help her strategize her money as to what that is going to look like for you to live now. What that's going to look like for retirement, and how do we get from A to B without you losing your sanity? So
Right.
it took me a little over a year to get her information all categorized, organized, rolled over, set up her savings account and her debt and stuff like that. And we got it done. We got it done.
Wow.
But had she not been referred, I don't know what would have happened, because the loopholes with the way these administration companies have the fund set up for retirement, they're not easy to navigate. That's the first thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're going through all of this trauma. It's a lot. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
lot to deal with to try to get a hold on it and get it all organized. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm here.
So you said she was already divorced.
Yes.
And so were those accounts in limbo, or what were those? You said she had 12 accounts.
So they were quadros, which stands for Qualified Domestic Relations Order, which can be split. So it's split from the spouse who has the retirement and or the job. And it could be
Mm-hmm.
for child support and or alimony or the spousal support award.
Mm-hmm.
So once the quadro is put in, the attorney has to then approved, excuse me, the attorney has to then send it to the administration. So whether that be Fidelity, Vanguard, or whoever, some miscellaneous company, for them to set up the account for the other spouse, the non-employed spouse. So we call that,
Oh.
yeah,
So like for stay-at-home moms,
right.
this would be something that they want to pay attention to and listen to today.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because there's processes to it. And if you skip one of the processes, you could end up in quadro hell. I had post like a few weeks, like 2 months ago, are you stuck in quadro hell? Call me, because they don't, I've noticed that they don't explain to you what the steps are really when you're going through a divorce, right? So you're kind of like just going with the flow. But once the quadro is approved, that is the only time where you can withdraw that money. If you're not 59 and a half, that you can withdraw that money without a penalty from the Uncle Sam.
Wow.
So it's important to follow the steps and know what your options are, because sometimes if you're getting a lump sum award, you might need some of that money maybe to buy a new car or get a house or whatever it is. But
Right.
once it's divided and separated, and the administrative company puts it into the separate account, it now becomes your individual retirement account. And if you touch that money, you're subject to the penalties.
This is, I'm getting a strong feeling of the stay-at-home moms, because there's a lot of those type of women who come to me and they feel stuck because the finances are either joint or watched or controlled or in his name,
Right.
or hiding. Like the soon-to-be exes, they know they have hidden accounts, they know they have a separate account, and they feel very like, what am I going to do? Because they feel like he holds all the money. So this is a great conversation for those. What other types of clients are in that situation that come to you besides stay-at-home moms?
They could be working. They could have their own business. It could be, and it could be vice versa. The wife has to pay out to the husband or partner, right? The other partner. So whenever there are assets, retirement assets that are going to be split, if there are no liquid assets that can fulfill the full amount, not 8 out of 10 times there's going to be a quadro associated with the divorce. And a lot of times, once it happens, the women are just, for the sake of argument, I'll just say women are just kind of like, oh, okay, I have this money now. But I would suggest to them not to leave the money there with that employer, because you don't know how it's set up, you don't know how it's structured, you don't know how the allocations are put together. So you want to make sure that you have full control over it with your own financial planner and or advisor.
Right. So I just grabbed my notepad and pen because I'm getting this unravel. I'm getting this title for this that we're doing here right now. Unravel the Financial Nightmare in divorce, right?
Yes.
Because that's how your clients, mostly, not all of them, I'm sure, but mostly that's how they come to you, right? They come to you in this financial nightmare.
The first clients that I had, they were all divorced already, right? And they needed help navigating their funds as to where to put them, how to get access. Like they couldn't get anywhere, because I'll give you an example. You'll call XYZ investment company, and they'll say, we can't find an account with that name. Well, it might not be under that name. It might be under the former spouse's name. And then they'll say, oh, we found his information, but we can't discuss it with you.
Right.
Well, when they say that, it's like, okay, I have the wrong department. So now you'll have to say, well, I need to speak to the department that handles the quadros. Oh, I'm that department. So like everybody wants to be glorified God, right? Like,
right.
They want to help them. Like, no, you're not that department. We need to get to the right source so that we can get the answers and the information that we need, because we're talking here for 10, 15 minutes, wasting time. And then at the end, they're going to say, oh, I can't help you. I need to switch you over. But for people who are working, they don't have the time to spend on the phone dealing with these people who are, I call them garters, gatekeepers,
Mm-hmm.
garters of the files. They're gatekeepers, right? So um, it's very important to have someone like me in your corner to be able to help you navigate even before you get to that part of what to do and what's going to be needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's so many. So the reason for the audience, the reason why we're here is to give you all of these pockets of what is entailed in a divorce. And so even after the divorce, so going into the divorce, there's all of these things that I feel like are not widely known. Like, does and I'd love to hear from everybody. Like, does everybody know that there is such a person as Cherese who helps you with the financial part? I know there's some people, like there's a lot of certified divorce financial people, but I'm just curious to see if everybody knows that there's that, and this, which falls under the business side of divorce. And then there's the emotional side of divorce, right? And a lot of people go for therapy, which therapy is great. It's great. But therapy is also, there's just different types of therapy, but it's more of, from what I've heard, because I haven't been in therapy in a long time, they kind of just go over what's happening, go to the past and talk about things like that. And how do you feel about that? Without giving like a streamline of like, here's the results goal that we're aiming towards. So you're going to be in therapy, let's say for 6 months, whatever, during the divorce. And here's your results goal target that we're going to meet at the end of our time together.
Right.
So there's all these pockets of divorce that, I feel like the hiring the best divorce attorney and boom, it's a win. We're winning. That's how it's going to happen. Where divorce attorneys in their zone of genius is only the legal part. They can only help you with the legal part. And just like Cherese, your zone of genius is the financial part. My zone of genius is the emotional part. I cannot and will not utter anything financial or legal because I don't know shit about it. Like, to be completely honest, I don't know shit about it. And I won't do that to anybody. And so same for the divorce attorneys. Like, their zone of genius is they know the laws. They went to school, they passed the bar for the laws. And there's all these different pockets of divorce that need to be addressed and to have a successful divorce.
Right.
Yeah. So there's that.
It's tough because we were taught what we were taught, right? And we kind of go along with what the standard is when it comes to the processes and stuff like that. But a lot of people, they're like, where were you,
Yes.
a few years ago? Like, I needed you. So now I'm making it my point to be able to stand out and make sure people understand exactly what it is that I do.
Yeah. I
So,
hear that all the time too.
yeah. So like there's a consulting side and then there's an implementation side. And both of those sides are very different for each client that comes in, and it depends on what their needs are,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So can I ask you some questions about some clients that I have now? Because I have one client who is she's in the divorce. She's starting the process of divorce. And then I'm thinking of another client who she's already divorced. So as you're talking, I'm thinking of these two women. And so let me start with the first one who's in the divorce. She's starting the divorce. She's already told me that and I'm going to send her to you, that he probably has accounts somewhere else. He's probably going to hide the money where I guess they have a joint. a joint account. And so now she's saying, I won't have access to that stream of income for her. She is a stay-at-home mom. And so what would you say to her because clearly she knows. She's like, I know that he's taking his checks and he's putting it into a different account because it stopped. And so she's just started the process of divorce. They've been married for over 20 years. I don't believe they have children together, but they do have a house together, and he's been the main provider.
Okay. So when someone tells me that they think so if he works a regular job, like a 9-to-5 W-2, and they say, I think he's stashing money, or they're stashing money, well, the money has to be deposited somewhere. And once it's deposited, there has to be a paper trail as to the withdrawals and or transfers.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a joint checking account, then you can see that. If it's not, then your attorney can subpoena all of their bank accounts and find out, get their pay stub and find out the last few digits of where that money is being deposited to.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening to it. Because now you can't, unless it's cash, and that's hard to trace. If they have a regular job, there's a paper trail. You can't hide.
Right.
With the technology now, they've made it impossible to hide. So
I was just going to say that. Yeah, it is. Everything's tracked.
It's tracked. And
mm-hmm.
if they're withholding funds or not paying the bills and that sort of thing, then a separation agreement needs to be drafted like ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
So that the discovery process, the judge will order the income documents, tax returns, and they have to write down their expenses. So
mm-hmm.
You make $100,000 and you only putting up $1,000 a month into the house. Mm-hmm. After taxes, it's probably about $6,000 and change. Where's the rest of the money?
Right. Yeah. And so for my other client that I'm thinking of, and then I have another client that I want to ask you about.
You're fine.
But this one, she is already divorced. She did get what she was asking for, but I think he keeps coming back around and trying to negotiate or try to take or whatever what was already decided as far as the financial part. What would you say to her?
Was it decided by them, or was it decided by court?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, run that by me one more time.
Okay, so they're already divorced.
Okay.
At least a year.
Okay.
If not more. And he keeps coming back around. Like, she's in the military, he was in the military. And so there's that piece of it. They also had some properties, timeshares together, things like that. And or he was a police officer. And so he keeps coming back around trying to negotiate what was already said, trying to pull crap. I'm going to take you back to court for this because maybe he's not happy with what he got. Because she was my client, so I showed her how to get everything that she was asking for. So.
Right. As she should.
Yes. Yeah.
There's nothing, to me, it just sounds like he's bullying her.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't entertain that.
Yeah.
They might have children together, so, they might have to deal with each other. But as far as the finances is concerned, you want to take me to court? Go ahead.
Right. Adult. Yeah, they have one adult child.
Oh, yeah. So there's no visitation or anything, but.
Right.
I'm going to take you to court. Okay, great. Let's go.
Yeah.
What are you going to say to them?
Yeah.
The judge is going to be like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. So my other client that I'm thinking about, she's the breadwinner out of the two of them. She makes the majority of the money. She's been paying for everything. They have a